Hey Scott, how you doing, dude?
Right, Deepak, how are you? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's odd now that we're recording something formally like this. I was just thinking that I think I've known you. So for the audience, I've known Scott for about 6, 7 years, maybe.
Yes.
I'll tell. It was like that. So I'll
Yeah.
tell you guys how I first met Scott. It's quite funny. So I was at the time I was living with my folks in just not far from Heathrow Airport, and at that time I was attempting, and I'll use attempting very loosely, my own version of a military journey. And I at that time happened to be walking past my local park, and I saw this sign for fitness boot camp, and there was this bloke, looks a little bit like Scott, who was in the park just shouting at people. And I thought, oh, that looks interesting, and it's quite near. It's a 5 minute walk from my mum's. I'd actually walk past it every day because my mum would work at a Morrison supermarket, and I was. It sounds like I was a kid. I was 27 at the time, so I was a full-blown adult, depending upon who you're asking. But anyway, I remember walking into the park and meeting Scott, and then saying, okay, I'm going to do this with you, I want to do that with you. And it just so happened I was just going to find out about the boot camp. But then, as it turned out, you had this military background, and I knew you'd been in the army, and that you'd done spent 20 plus years there, and of course you're at the fitness boot camp, and you'd had experience training guys up for P Company as well, and you'd been through that course yourself. And it was just it's just amusing, guys, that in the 6 years I've known him, Scott's an entrepreneur now. He's got boot camps. He's got several locations. Mate, I think I've been to probably less than 10 of the actual sessions of yours that I anticipated I'd get to about 100 of them, but that didn't quite work out, did it?
Well, the thing is, I think with you, Deepak, I think with everyone, you've got to find what you enjoy doing, and you do a boot camp, and then you've got spates of doing triathlons, you've got spates of doing long distance running, and so you're getting a really good mix of stuff there. And like with any fitness, if you enjoy it, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
If 1 minute you're enjoying doing your triathlons and your Ironman, and then the 1 minute you're enjoying the running part of it, why not? That is it,
Well, thank you for being nice. That's a really nice way to frame it. But talking of the enjoyment piece, then let's talk a little bit about your military journey. How long were you in the army for?
I did 22 years, and so that was in the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers.
Yeah.
Although, as with everyone life, some people find it early, some people find it later. As I was always quite fit, strong. I was an army swimmer, army water polo player. I was in several sports in the army, jack of all trades at the sports. I met a few people. My best mate, a guy called Cam Williams, he's done really well in the army. He did Pathfinders, para commando courses, and I didn't lose touch with Cam, but we entered different units, and he said he'd done P Company, done his commando course, and it just got me thinking. Then I met a few other people who'd done P Company, and I just liked the way they held themselves, and I really looked up to them, and I didn't imagine that was something I could do. And then, one day I just thought, right, I've got to try this. And it was a few years later, maybe 4 or 5 years later. I thought, I've got to try this, give it a go. I don't know if I could, but I knew that this is something which has stuck with me a long time. If I set my sights on something, if I've got a target and I really want it, I work really hard for it. And I set that sight up on P Company. I did a jumps course first to make sure I could handle the jumping out of an airplane, which I found okay. And then by the time I'd done P Company, I think my fitness was through the roof. I really did not want to go on that course and suffer the struggle. Yeah. I wanted to go on there and do really well. And I think by the time I got there, I was really strong, really fit. I got myself to an airborne unit. Okay. So I got myself in that ethos, and once I'd done it, I was like, whoa! I couldn't believe I'd done it. It was one of them things. All the airborne lads that I used to think were absolute legends, and I was there with them. So that was my side. From there,
Yeah.
I got stronger carrying a burg, and I got stronger in my fitness. I was then usually within my peer group, we're all very, very fit, stronger people, and I wanted to be, the fitter and stronger of that peer group. So that's pushed myself fitness-wise as I went through my career. And I think one thing that I've managed to do is my fastest ever BFT, which is your basic fitness test, which is a 1.5 mile run. That changed as it went through, but it was always the basic thing of a 1.5 mile run. My last ever BFT was my equal fastest BFT, so I managed to keep my fitness level all the way into my 40s until I left the army. So it's, even as you become, you get promotions.
Yeah.
It's usually the younger lads who take over the fitness side. But I didn't want that. I wanted to be fitter and stronger as I went through the army. And I was my last ever one. I wanted to be my best time, but I didn't quite manage it. I equaled it. And,
well, what was the time? What was the time?
It was 8 minutes and 19 seconds for a 1.5 miles.
Okay. Wow.
So,
okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's I'm not a runner, but I was good with weight on my back. There's other people out there who've done 7 minutes, so it's not extremely fast. Some people say it is fast, but
well, to maintain it over 22 years is quite impressive, nonetheless. I think, because that's a long old time. I want to, if we go back to the beginning of the journey, if you cast your mind back to when you first decided to apply here in 2024 in the UK. I say the UK based upon where I grew up in West London near Heathrow Airport. It's not an ordinary thing to join the army. I just wanted to understand your journey in terms of entry and how you wound up deciding to join the army in the first place.
In the first place, I've got both parents are in the army.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but and I didn't get much guidance from my parents, and I wasn't pushed into the army. But it's just something I thought. Right, I looked at the army, and I thought, right, you can get, you can get trades, and it was the trade that attracted me. I joined as an electrician, and I thought, that sounds all right. You can get trained and all that kind of stuff. You get paid, and I think back then you've got a cover, you've got you're getting looked after, and I think I could sense that as I think right, I could join the army, you get looked after. You just, like Forrest Gump said, you just do what the sergeant major says, and things will go fine. And it's that attracted me as well. That gave you a bit of guidance as a young lad.
So how old were you when you joined then? When you signed up?
I left at 18. Yeah.
Okay. So you left at 18, and then you went in, as you said, to the trade side of it attracted you. You came from a military family. So were you? Whereabouts did you grow up?
In the northeast.
Okay.
I was in the northeast near Middlesbrough, a place called Gisborough, from being 11 years old. My dad left the military. Before that, I was moving around with my dad to different countries and different postings.
Okay.
To the 80s. Then we settled in Gisborough, and I was there until I was 18. Yeah.
So your parents both in the military. Were they in similar fields and disciplines, or were they doing something different within the army?
My dad was an infantry soldier, so he was with the Royal Scots, and my mother was a nurse in the army. Okay.
And then was it? You said you ended up settling in Gisborough. Were you were moving around quite a lot through your childhood then?
Yeah. So it's basically you move with your parents. So my dad got posted every 2 or 3 years. So every 3 years you would move to Germany. We went to Cyprus. You went back to Germany. You went to UK, Scotland. That's the 5 areas I remember being in. So.
Oh wow. Okay. And then was it sorry, quite
Germany?
No,
so
sorry. Go ahead.
I was born in Germany. That was my first posting as a kid.
Oh, I didn't know you were born in Germany, mate. Oh wow. Okay. I was about to say Sprechen Sie German, but then I think that's Dutch. That's not even German.
Ich bin sprechen Sie kleine Deutsch. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I've not even. I should have asked you when you came to my stag in Rotterdam. Bust out some Dutch for us, mate. Even though you said you were born in Germany, it's clearly irrelevant now. But I'm still just fascinated by the So you signed up at 18, and then if you think about your childhood, and did you have a bunch of friends also that joined at the same time you did, or because of like what was that like?
Leaving home, some people went to college. Most of my friends went to college because I was in the sort of cleverer side of the school group. So most of my peers in the same class as me they went off to college. Some didn't. I can't remember anyone else who joined the army. So it was just me out of my friends and everything who joined the army.
That's interesting. And what year was that you joined when you were 18? You remember? Can you recall?
87, yeah.
Okay, 87. And then how many, over the course of the 22 years, how many times did you ultimately deploy?
So I did the 2 Iraq wars. So that's, was that 2003? So that's the first one, and then the first one, I can't remember the year of the first deployment. Probably got it written down somewhere. So whenever the first Iraq war was, which was it's 92 maybe. No, it was about probably 91, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, amazing. And how? I mean, 22 years is a full career. Did your experience of the army also, in terms of the culture and the guys coming in and the journey, did it change? Did the army change? I guess, or did you change through that journey? If you look at yourself as an 18-year-old going in, and then I guess being 40 odd by the time you retired from the army. If you look back as you as a person, how would you describe kind of that journey and transformation you went through?
I think it's just the confidence, the building the character who I probably am now. I wasn't that confident as a kid, and I think going through basic training, I probably suffered a bit with with issues there. I used to get nervous with weapons and things like that, and that's gradually changed. And then as you go through the army, when I left the army, I felt like I was somebody in the army. I felt like I had an identity, and people knew who I was. They knew what I stood for. And the army changed. The army changed. It became. I mean, in the REME, I was in the engineers, so the REME became a lot more professional and slick as the times went by. It became more and more management focused.
Okay.
In terms of the way they looked after their equipment and how they tried to enforce that ethos onto all the individuals in the army. So.
Okay. Amazing. And when because some people, retirement can be at a different age and mean different things to different people. So we spoke about your entry when it came to coming from a military family, and then that was what you'd grown up with. And I mean, was there ever a time also, actually, if I go back to that, you're 18, you're looking at the trade side of it, but there was probably also an opportunity, much like your other college friends, to, I don't know, think about university or look at some BTEC nationals or higher versions of education, or picking up a trade outside of the army. Was that ever something you considered, or was it, to be honest with you, I
think I was so, as a kid, I was so just in my own little world. I didn't, I don't think I got much help from my parents. That's not to say, I just don't think they knew. You look. Nowadays you look at your children. You want to plan for them. You want to make sure they've got a plan.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't get that much guidance in that way. I wasn't forced into it. It was just a case of, what are you going to do? And I had to write. Okay. I think I may have heard somebody say once college is rubbish. So I thought, I'm not going to college then. So that's. So I was a little bit lost as a 16-year-old leaving school. And didn't really know where I was going. And that's probably why, I tried college in the end.
Okay, because I was going to ask what you did between 16 to 18 then, yeah.
Yeah, I went to, I did a YTS scheme, and then from that I left that. And then I went with a friend he was going to apply for the college. I went down to look at the college with him, not to apply. And on the day I thought, I fancy this. It was just, a lot of people there my age, a lot of women my age, and I thought, all right, yeah, I'll have a go at that. Did it, and then I managed to get O-level maths, so I thought I did A-level maths, and I did A-level economics as well.
Okay.
But I did that for a bit. I wasn't really focused enough, and that's when the army came in, and I thought, yeah, I've got to leave it. So I was wasting my time. I was just floating around doing nothing, thinking,
Okay, amazing. It's interesting to hear the journey. And then if we fast forward, for example, to you had 2 deployments. What was your experience like of going away for the first time to war? How did that feel, and what was that like?
Really exciting, and beforehand exciting. It was, before, when we knew the war was kicking off, the first war in it, in 1990, you didn't know what to expect. I was very nervous until we were told you're going. And I thought, brilliant, that's it, we're off. And it was just non-stop from there, getting ready to go. So that once I was out there, I absolutely loved it. And the second time I was out there, I loved it as well. Really enjoyed being out. I loved, sort of living in a different place, different things every day happening. There was getting shot at is something which I found really, you don't believe you're going to get hit by a bullet. You hear the shots and you just think, this is exciting. You've got to deal with this, and so it never scared me. In fact, on the second one, I actually volunteered to stay out for another 3 months.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's,
how long are typical deployments when you go away with the British Army?
They were both 6 months. The second one was 9 months because I had a volunteer for an extra 3 months.
Okay. And then
it was great. I really enjoyed it.
And is it what was your time mainly comprised of when you were away, for example, for the first time, 6 months? What did you end up doing day to day?
A lot of it is, you remember, these wars weren't as they're not as intense as maybe people think they are. A lot of the time you're sat doing nothing, prepping, normal work, you work harder, you work longer hours, and you're working in the heat, but it's just, there's something about 12-hour shifts and, little sleep and having to train in between. In that time, it's just, you've got no time to think, you just get on with it. And some people get nervous about, I think we got the Scud attacks in every now and then, but to me, there was never any real danger. When this is before the actual invasion started, during the invasion, it's just exciting. You've got problems to solve, and you've just got to solve them. Just a quick example, because I know we haven't got a lot of time, but on the first deployment, we were actually waiting on the border of Kuwait at the time. And as the electrician, I said, right, we need red lights on top of every single vehicle in our convoy. And I can't remember, was it 30, 40 vehicles? I don't know. And it was like, get it sorted, we're leaving in 6 hours or something stupid. And I was like, wow. So it was a case of, right, get the it was get the convoy light, which we had underneath. So it was grabbing one light off the vehicle, getting some wires, then using an inspection socket. And so it's just a case of getting all the vehicle mechanics and finding a way to get a light on every single vehicle. And we got it done. Little things like that, which is just fastballs, having some problems all the time. It's just
what's incredible about that story, actually, to be honest with you, there's a lot of spotlight, let's say, that's based upon, for example, people who are on the front line, at least from a civilian perspective. When I say front line, I mean people that go and knock down doors. I don't hear enough about all of the other problems that are real legitimate problems that need to be resolved when you're out, and that's one that's so lateral. I wouldn't ever think of that being something that, but of course it does come up. And what was the reason for needing the red lights on all of the top of the tanks, just to the convoy, just to understand?
It was just basically because you had a lot of different military countries there. So the Americans with a lot of firepower in the air, and they were just saying, you want to make sure, we want to make sure we're not hitting our own guys or hitting the Brits.
Wow.
And, but unfortunately, it was only a few hours later that 2 British vehicles were taken out by the Americans. You know,
Wow.
so,
Okay. And okay. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. That is. Yeah. No, I'd be fascinated to hear about more of those types of problems. I know that we've got a couple of minutes left, so I just want to fast forward a little bit, just to hear a little bit about what was, and we'll come back to all of these in a separate chat, because I want to ask more about this personally, to be honest with you, because I'm interested. What led you to the decision to retire at the time at which you retired?
What, from the army?
Yeah. Because you said you had
a couple of things. You know, I was at my last unit, and you know, or what was going to be my last unit. You know, as a warrant officer, which is you know, I was at the you got a W1, W2. I was at W2. You know, so I had one more promotion in me. But my command officer at the time, I'd done really quite well at my last unit, and he recommended me for commission, and you know, he said that I should go for it, and the things that stopped me again was that confidence thing. I thought I couldn't do that. I couldn't I couldn't do that. And my OC at the time said, you know, I chatted to him about that, and he said, listen, you could do it. You know, you're at the level of some of the officers in the battalion, and so that was in the back of my head. Also, I just split with my ex-missus, and you know, I was quite sort of involved with my daughter at the time, and you know, so I was only seeing my daughter at weekends, and obviously you stay in the army, you get posted anyway. If I'd got posted to Germany or anywhere.
And how old was she then? Your daughter at that time? How old was she?
10 years, 9 years old. So
the few, it's interesting. They're the few years I've been, and I'm not. I don't have any kids yet, but I'm told that there's a golden period in a child's life where you want to spend as much time as you can with them as possible, because between the ages of maybe 4 to about 14, even, they're really interested in spending time with their parents before they stop becoming interested. So I can imagine there would have been some of that. It must have been challenging to only see her at weekends when you're in the army at that point in your life.
You know, and it's, you know, I think when you split up with somebody, you feel that you've got to make that extra big effort. And that wasn't just for, you know, I was thinking of myself as well. You know, I think for her and me. Yeah. So that was one thing why I thought I'm not going to do that. And you know, and in the back of my mind, I had the police. I thought, I fancy giving the police a go.
Well, let's stop you there, because we can end it on a cliffhanger, because then there was the police career. Then, of course, there's your journey as a business owner, and probably some little bits in between which we need to explore. But yeah, listen, it's great having a chat, because I realise in the 6 odd years we've known each other, I've not really ever asked these stories, and it's great to hear some of it for the first time. So yeah. But thanks for the chat, and let's do this again really soon.
Okay, right. See you later. Catch you next time.